Hello, everyone. Good morning to Sycamore Creek Church in Potterville. My name's Kevin. I'm your worship leader, and I'm going to lead you through a time of song. I'm sitting outside. You might hear a little traffic in the background, but that's okay. It'll just blend right in. So, anyways, please sing along with me. We're gonna sing the song "Our God" together. Water you turned into wine. Open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you. There's none like you. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. None like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. There's none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. If our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? What could stand against? Stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? If our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? Then if our God is with us, then what can stand against? Then what can stand against? Then what can stand against? Amen. And I'm going to hand it over to Mark.
Grace and peace be with you. Good morning. My name is Mark. I'm the pastor at Sycamore Creek in Potterville. I'm thrilled that you're with us today for our online worship service as we wrap up our series on chasing carrots, the continual pursuit of more. There are all sorts of things in our culture, in our lives that we can pursue. Things like fame, things like comfort, things like perfectionism, things like the approval of others, or what we're going to talk about today, money and stuff. And what we've talked about throughout this series that is instead of pursuing those things as followers of Christ, we are going to pursue passionately God. Or we're going to pursue Jesus. I'm going to invite you to do that with us today. And one of the ways that you can do that is by going and getting a candle. That candle is a reminder to us as we gather for worship of Christ's presence among us. I've got my candle here. I'm going to invite you to get that candle. And to light that candle, I'm going to light my candle here. There we go. I got my match. That candle is a reminder to us of the light of Christ that's present with us as we gather today for worship. It's my hope and my prayer throughout our worship service today that it would help you to center your life on Christ and help you to give yourself more, rather than to all those other things I talked about, more to Christ. More to Christ. That's our focus this morning. Now, as we gather for worship, I'm going to invite you into a time of prayer. One of the ways that you can pray along with us is if you have something that you would like to share, you can email prayers@sycamorecreekchurch.org, and we have a team of people who are ready to pray for you. You are always an email away from a whole group of people. We have like 30, 40 people who will pray for you and for your request and lift that up before God. I want you to take advantage of that today. If there is something on your heart or on your mind, give it over to God and join with others in prayer. Now, today, as we prepare for our time in prayer, we live in a very fractured country. We are divided. Things are difficult in our country right now. And in the midst of that, I think we need to pray to God for our government, for our leaders, for our schools, for all of these things. I'm going to invite you to join me in prayer as we pray for the topic of today, money and stuff, but also as we pray for our country and that we might come together as one. Will you pray with me? God, I thank you for all the blessings that you have given us. I thank you, God, for the things that have made our lives better, whether it's a vehicle to get around in, whether it's a home to live in with a roof over our heads, whether it's a bed to sleep on. We thank you, God, for those blessings. We thank you for the work that allows us to purchase those things. And we acknowledge, God, that we can often get caught up in the pursuit of things, in the pursuit of money. Help us this morning to pursue you. Help us to be aware of you in our lives and to look to you as our source of trust and hope and comfort. God, we live in an incredibly divided time right now. We do not see eye to eye on many things in our country. And God, I pray for our leaders. I pray for our country. I pray for the election that we have coming up. I pray for all of those who are running for office. And I pray, God, that people who are running for office, people who are in office, our elected officials, would look to you. And as we're talking about more today, that they would look to you for more, not to the votes that they can get, not to their constituents, not to the money that might come in through their political work, but to you. God, may we be a country, a people who focus on you. God, I pray for the divisions that exist within our country, and I pray that we would become one. I pray that we would be united around you and your love shown to us through Jesus. God, that's what we center on this morning, on Jesus and on your love for us shown through Jesus. Help us to let that penetrate our hearts. Help us to know and appreciate your love for us. It's in the name of Jesus that we pray. Amen. Here is the Sheetenhelm family to lead us in the Lord's Prayer. Join them in the Lord's Prayer.
Hi, we're the Sheetenhelms. I'm Sarita.
I'm Ann. I'm Emma. I'm TJ.
And I'm Joe, and we would like you to join us in the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you, Sheetenhelm family, for leading us in the Lord's Prayer. I have been having a lot of fun looking over worship services that we've had throughout this pandemic online and the fantastic families that we've had host. Our hosts for this morning are a classic host video from the Zakchevskis. Here are our hosts this morning, the Zakchevskis.
Good morning. I'm Anya.
I'm Hila.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Brian.
Welcome to worship with Sycamore Creek Potterville.
We will be your hosts this morning. You can fill out a digital connection card at sycamorecreekchurch.org/connect or in the comments below.
Below.
Or
Below.
over there.
Actually,
Below?
over there.
Maybe over there.
Maybe
Yeah.
It's down there somewhere.
Yes. You can share this video as a watch party with your friends on social media, so you can just watch them with them. It'll be more fun.
Speaking of being social, please feel free to interact and comment during the service in the comment section, also below.
Or over there, wherever it is.
Maybe over there.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who knows? You also can take a couch selfie and share it with everyone. Make sure and get that hashtag of couch selfie. Smile.
Our message today begins with this.
Where your head at? Dang, don't wanna talk business. I guess I gotta be the one to see this summer. Who really in this? We so fed up. My life 10 up. Your time been up. Big prayers send up. Couldn't do without 'em. Glad that I found 'em. Crowd really wildin'. I'm kicking it, shallin'.
Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. Smart. My dad gave me $1 bill because I'm his smartest son. And I swapped it for 2 shiny quarters because 2 is more than 1. And then I took the quarters and traded them to Lou for 3 dimes. I guess you don't know. The 3 is more than 2. Just then along came old blind Bates, and just 'cause he can't see, he gave me 4 nickels for my 3 dimes. And 4 is more than 3. And I took the nickels to Hiram Coombs down at the seed feed store. And the fool gave me 5 pennies for them, and 5 is more than 4. And then I went and showed my dad, and he got red in the cheeks. He closed his eyes and he shook his head, too proud of me to speak. This little story reminds me of when I was growing up. I was a little girl, and my sister Marcia, who was 3.5 years older than I am, would tell me, hey, let's pool our money. We'll put it together, and then we can get something better together, because more is better. It didn't matter that I had a quarter and she had a nickel and 2 pennies or a dime. It sounded like a good idea to me. So we'd pool our money together because more is better. Combined, we could get more than we could separately. My name is Kathy Dobie, and I'm a volunteer in the teaching team at Sycamore Creek Church. And today we are in the midst of a series called Chasing Carrots. Chasing Carrots, the continual pursuit for more. It's based on a series by Craig Groeschel. You know, we can get caught up in the idea that whatever we don't have, whatever we're missing, is the key to true happiness and fulfillment of life. It's a continual pursuit for more. It's like that hamster chasing the carrot just out of reach. That's what the series has been about. Today we're talking about riches, having more money and the stuff that money can buy. I imagine that some of you battle with believing the lie that if I could just have more money, my life would be complete. I would be satisfied in life. I would be set for life if I could just have more. But the problem with that kind of thinking is the pursuit of riches can take the place of our pursuit of God. Let me ask you a couple questions, and feel free to post your comments right here on the screen. How many of you would mind being terribly rich? How many would mind being terribly rich? And do you know someone who is terribly rich? Maybe are you terribly rich right now? And have you ever wondered why the word terrible is associated with being rich? Well, the word terrible is used to emphasize the extent of something, the great extent of something. So if you're terribly rich, you got a lot of money. You got a lot of money. I'll bet some of you like me would think that when you see somebody who's super rich, that you could do a lot better job at it. You see somebody with a lot of money, you think, boy, if I had that kind of money, I'd know what to do with it. I'd be good at being rich. I'd do good things with my money. I think if we're honest, most of us would admit that we would love to be really rich, to have enough money that we would never have to worry or work again in our lives. We'd be set for life. We fantasize about it. We lust after it. We pursue it. We chase money and the stuff that money can buy. And what would you be willing to do, say, for $5 million? It's been said that everyone has their price. So let's assume for a moment that that price is $5 million. What would you be willing to do? Go ahead and post your comments. What would you do for $5 million? Would you say, listen to country music only for the rest of your life? Or would you be willing to have all your teeth removed? Would you be willing to live in solitude for the next 20 years or give up sex for the next 30 years? Would you be willing to have someone randomly chosen to be killed so that you could have $5 million? Well, BuzzFeed did a poll on just those things. They had an article that lists all these things. And here's the facts. 54% of the people polled said they would listen to country music for the rest of their life. Now, I have a question. Is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing, really? 42% said they'd have all their teeth pulled. Yeah, they could probably get dentures. 27% would give up sex for 30 years. Those are your prime years. And 24% said they would live in solitude for the next 20 years. Tell me, what good is all that money if you've got no one to impress? This last one really bothered me. 50%, half the people polled, said they would allow one random person to be killed so that they could have $5 million. I have no words for that one. What would you be willing to do? I have a feeling that those folks would probably do these things for a lot less than probably 1 million they would do it. Which begs the question then, what is rich? What is rich? At what point will you know that you're actually rich? When do you have enough money that you could say, I'm rich? Rich, it seems, depends on who you ask. According to a Gallup poll, the responses vary, but happiness and life satisfaction seem to top out somewhere around $75,000 to $95,000 annually. But rich is a moving target. People tend to live just within their means or probably a little outside their means, which means they're always wanting more, always wanting more. So how much money do you need to be happy? Just a little more. Just a little more. We need to be very careful because everything in our culture is shouting at us, you need this, you need that, you need more of this, you need more of that. Again and again, the dominant message from our culture is that what you don't have is what you really need to be happy and have a fulfilled life. But the truth is, what you have is what you don't need. What you need is God. The Bible warns us. Jesus talked a lot about having a right perspective on money and things in Luke's gospel. Luke 12:15. This is what Jesus said. Then he said to them, watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. Watch out. Be on guard. The pursuit of riches and all that it can afford us can take the place of our pursuit of God. Be on guard against all kinds of advertisements, social media, peer pressure. You know, we wonder about our family and friends, don't we? How they can afford the stuff they have and the places they go. We see their pictures on Facebook. It's hard not to feel a little envious sometimes when you see them sitting there on the beach under an umbrella. Usually it's just their toes showing, maybe a cold drink and the waves in the foreground, and a caption maybe saying, life is good. Or maybe it's their beautiful, smiling, happy children dressed in Gap for Kids, sitting in their clean and organized home, looks like something out of House and Garden magazine. In just one word, blessed. Or maybe it's their shiny new car with a post, so this just happened. We've all done it. I'm not trying to pick on anybody because we've all done that. Meanwhile, you haven't had a vacation since you can't remember when. You got laundry and dishes piling up. Your kids are fighting. Your car is limping along on 100,000 miles plus and needs new tires. You're not feeling blessed. Life isn't very good, and it's hard to celebrate how blessed and happy someone else's life is when you just need a little more, just a little more. Jesus told a story about a terribly rich farmer in the Gospel of Luke. He had a great harvest and a bumper year of crops. His crops yielded more than they ever had. He couldn't hardly handle it, and he wondered, what am I going to do with all these crops? I've got all this money coming in. I've got all these crops. Then he had a brainstorm idea. I know what I'll do. He said, I'll tear down my old barns and I'll build bigger barns, more barns, and then I'll retire early. I'll take life easy. I'll go sit on the beach. I'll throw a lot of parties. God spoke to him in Luke 12, 20, 21. This is what he said, you fool. You fool. This very night, your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get all that you prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich toward God. God wasn't mad at the farmer for being rich. It was God who made him rich. God is the one who gave him that bountiful harvest. God is not angry for what he had, but God was disappointed because the man was not rich toward God. He was only rich in the things of this world, but he was missing being rich in what matters most. He was not good at being rich. Friends, I got good news and I've got bad news today. First, the good news, you are rich. You are rich. You are rich. You are terribly, terribly rich, though most of us don't believe that because we don't feel it. We got more bills coming in than we do money. But you're not thinking broadly enough about it. You're not thinking broadly enough. I know that some of you are in serious financial situations. Maybe you have medical bills that have piled up, or you've been out of work, or there's been a divorce. Something's going on. I'm not trying to make light of anyone's specific situation. I'm talking about people in general, and the fact that the majority of us are doing okay. We're in pretty good shape compared to the rest of the world. Even those of you who are struggling are okay compared to the rest of the world. Let me explain. The reality is that something like 3 billion or so people in this world live on $2 a day or less. I say live off, but it's really more like subsist. They get by. They manage to survive. 3 billion people, $2 a day or less. Now, some of you spend more than that on your coffee on your way to work every day. You've got more than that in your loose change jar at home. We need to put things in the proper perspective. We need to look at this more broadly. Based on the world, financially speaking, most of us are very, very wealthy. Most of us are terribly rich. You know, you can tell just how rich you are by what bothers you, what kind of things upset you. When you go through the fast food drive-through and your order is slower than what you think it should be. Or maybe they forgot to give you your straw or your dipping sauce. Or God forbid they forget your fries. What upsets you? Your Amazon order being 3 days late? If you have to be on hold with the doctor's office more than a few minutes? If your Netflix doesn't connect, the Wi-Fi goes out, what is it? What gets you upset? If you're cut off in traffic, how do you respond when someone steals your parking space? What gets you upset? We all have buttons that get pushed, things that trigger us. And most of us would agree, I think, that these are minor inconveniences in the great scheme of things. Yet they can really unnerve us. Why is it? As the saying goes, if that's your biggest problem, then you don't have any problems. A favorite quote of mine is from Robert Fulghum, and this is what he wrote. He said, one of life's best coping mechanisms is to know the difference between an inconvenience and a problem. If you break your neck, if you have nothing to eat, if your house is on fire, then you've got a problem. Everything else is an inconvenience. Life is inconvenient. Life is lumpy. A lump in the oatmeal, a lump in the throat, and a lump in the breast are not the same kind of lump. One needs to learn the difference. Life is inconvenient. But when you think about the modern conveniences we do have at our fingertips, it's amazing. If you have a smartphone, and it seems like everyone over the age of 10 does these days, you can stream any movie, play games, play any song that you want. You can play video games or stream shows on your iPad. And it's not just technology, though. It's other convenience. Like if you're hungry, you can drive past 14 restaurants to find the one that you like. The good news, my friends, is that we are rich, though we may not know it. And we may be uncomfortable admitting it, acknowledging it. Why is that? Why is that? You don't have to be uncomfortable or embarrassed or apologetic for what you have. If you're going to be rich in a way that honors God, God from whom all blessings flow. We need to first acknowledge those blessings. The Bible's clear that wealth can be the result of injustice. People can be filthy rich, meaning they have ill-gotten gains. They haven't come about it honestly. But the Bible also speaks about wealth as a gift of God. We don't apologize for a gift of God when it's given honestly and justly. We don't do that with our other blessings. We don't apologize for our great marriage, your happy family, your good health, your talents, whatever they may be. We're not afraid or uncomfortable when people see that we have those things. I'm not saying that we should boast or flaunt what we have, any of the blessings we have, just that we should be able to enjoy them with a clear conscience. King Solomon, who was very wise, said in Ecclesiastes 5:19, "Moreover, when God gives someone wealth and possessions and the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot and be happy in their toil, this is a gift from God." This verse follows the well-known verse from Ecclesiastes that says we should eat, drink, and be happy while we can. God gives wealth. Now, you may think you're a self-made person, and certainly your wise choices and your smart decisions play an important role in that, but God made you first. God gave you your intellect and your gift and your talents and the opportunities to use them. Your wealth and possessions are a blessing of God. And the good news is you are rich. There's bad news too, though. Remember I said good news and bad news. The bad news, you're rich. You are rich. That's the bad news too. Being rich may provide us with lots of advantages in life, but it actually puts us at a tremendous spiritual disadvantage. Jesus explains it in Luke chapter 18. We get so caught up in the pursuit of riches, it can take the place of the pursuit of God. Jesus told the rich young man that it'd be easier for a rich person to go through the eye of a camel. That's hard for a rich person because we get so attached to our possessions, to the stuff we acquire. It puts us at a spiritual disadvantage. I want to talk about 2 spiritual disadvantages to being rich. There's a lot more than 2, but we're on a time frame. So 2 of them. The first one is being rich distracts us from what's really important. When was the last time you prayed the Lord's Prayer and truly understood the power of the words, "Give us this day our daily bread"? We recite those words while most of us have cupboards and refrigerators full of food. We have enough food on hand to eat for a week or a month. We skip lunch, and by dinner time, we're saying, "I'm starving." We have no idea what that kind of hunger feels like. Most of us will never visit a third world country and witness that kind of hunger, where malnutrition is just a way of life. If you're thirsty, you go to the faucet and get a drink. If you're hungry, you have multiple options. In her book, called Be the Miracle, 50 Lessons for Making the Impossible Possible, Regina Brett tells the story of her visit to El Salvador in Central America at the end of the Civil War there in 1992. Brett was a reporter for a newspaper in Akron, Ohio, and she was given the assignment to go to El Salvador and try to find a boy named Jose. That sounds like looking for a needle in a haystack. 4 years earlier, in 1988, when he was just 7 years old, Jose lost his leg to a landmine. Miraculously, he lived, and through an organization called HOPE, Health Opportunities for People Everywhere, he was sent to a hospital in Akron to be fitted with an artificial limb. Now, 4 years later, the war is ending, and Brett was told to go and find Jose and see how he was managing. She arrived with her photographer a week before the ceasefire was official, and she describes a scene that she found horrendous conditions, sounds, the sights, the smells, people living in filthy mud huts made with sticks and dried mud, roofs of cardboard or corrugated sheet metal, bone-thin children, barefoot, roaming the streets and begging for food. She wondered, how do people live like this? Imagine your child or grandchild, bone-thin, begging for food. Garbage littered the streets. The missionary team that was leading them showed them where soldiers and rebels had just killed people and tossed their bodies, dumped them on the side of the road. Brett and her companion had to sleep on cots and zip themselves in at night so the tarantulas and the bats wouldn't get to them. With the help of a priest, amazingly, they were able to locate Jose. He was living in a tiny dried mud hut at the base of a mountain, at the base of a volcano with his grandmother, Eduarda. It was just the two of them. The rest of the family had died or been killed, and it was just the two of them. No electricity, no running water. They shared a wood slab for a bed. Eduarda said that she was 74 years old, and she suffered from malaria and arthritis and malnutrition, among probably other things. She and Jose survived day to day, finding food and work wherever they could, $2 a day or less. Jose was a quiet, broken boy, 11 going on 61, Brett wrote. The only peace he'd ever known in his short life was those 12 weeks that he'd spent in Akron at the hospital, getting his artificial leg. Now, you might think that these miserable conditions would make Eduarda bitter and angry and depressed, but you'd be wrong. You see, the quality of her life was not measured by the volume of her stuff. She was actually full of hope and talked about the blessings she had. She didn't credit the rebels or the military for ending the Civil War. She gave God all the credit, saying God gives us peace. We have to ask for it. We have to ask for it. Brett said Eduarda's eyes and voice bore witness to a youthful spirit that neither poverty nor war could break. Whatever God wants, she told her. I don't say anything because I can't. All I do is suffer with patience. And after all that suffering, God has given me blessings. He still has me living. I give him thanks. The gift of life was enough for Eduarda. Until I met Eduarda, Brett wrote, I never understood the beatitude, blessed are the poor in spirit. The poor in spirit are blessed not because they're poor, not because they have nothing, but because they are attached to nothing but God. When you have nothing to cling to but faith, you have enough. There's nothing good about a life of poverty. When you have nothing, you have no distractions, nothing to hinder you from your pursuit of God. Riches distract us from what's really important in this life. The quality of your life is not measured by the volume of your stuff. The second spiritual disadvantage to being rich, more is expected of us. More is expected. God expects more from those who are rich. We have a greater responsibility. The Apostle Paul was mentoring a young man named Timothy, and he was trying to teach him how to talk to rich people. Now, he's not just talking about Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or Oprah. He's talking about you and me. Our first mistake is thinking these words are meant for somebody else. They're not. This is God's word for us. 1 Timothy chapter 6, Paul says, command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, they will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of life that is truly life. Command, direct, instruct those who are rich right now, not to think they're all that just because they have it, but to put their hope in God. It is God who richly provides everything for our enjoyment. So don't feel guilty or uncomfortable about that. Neither boast or flaunt it, because it's God who gives it. God blesses. He's a good God who loves to bless his children. To whom much is given, much is expected. God's word command that we do good, that we do good deeds, to be rich in good deeds. We are to be generous and willing to share. That's the way to take hold of life that is truly life and enjoy the depth of the blessings and the goodness. And this is good news. We're rich, and it's bad news. We're rich because money and stuff, the stuff it can buy, can distract us from what is important, and so much more is expected of us. Our culture may shout at us, what you don't have is what you need. New phone, better TV, brand new purse, the shoes, the watches, the sunglasses, the wallets, the speakers, the car, the flooring, the list goes on and on. Artwork, vacations. But the truth is really the opposite. What you have is what you don't need. What do you need? You need God. You need God. We don't need more of what is temporary. We need more of what is eternal. Some of you have been very faithful and are good stewards of all that God has given you. You've maximized it, you multiplied it, and you provided for your family. There's nothing wrong with earning money honestly, ethically, and justly. There's nothing wrong with having a nice place to live, a nice car to drive, and to live a great life because God has blessed you with it. But understand, it's not all for you. Don't feel guilty. Feel responsible. God expects you to use your blessings to bless others. To whom much is given, much is expected. There are these spiritual disadvantages to being rich, but guess what? There's a great spiritual advantage also, and that is that you get to be a blessing to others. The spiritual advantage to being rich is that you can bless other people. Having more means you're able to do more good, and to do right, to use what's been given to you to help others. There are so many ways that you can do that financially. One thing you might do is support UMCOR. That's the United Methodist Committee on Relief. UMCOR is the humanitarian and development arm of the United Methodist Church. It's very often the very first people on the scene to help when there's trouble. In the United States and international disasters, natural disasters, human disasters, disease, poverty, UMCOR ministers to refugees and immigrants and provides clean water and actively works to reduce hunger. UMCOR is awesome. And you can, what I really like about UMCOR is you can be assured that 100% of what you give goes directly to that mission or ministry of your choice. If you prefer to give rather give locally, there's lots of opportunities to do that too. And one great way is through our own local food pantry. Right now, the Meyer Simply Give program has partnered again with Sycamore Creek Church through August 23rd through September 26th. Every donation made at Meyer for our food pantry through Simply Give will be matched by Meyer. And on September 11th and 12th, your donation will be double matched. In 2018, our food bank raised $16,520 through this program. You can find out more about it on our Facebook and website. And Christmas is right around the corner. It's going to be different this year probably, but there's still a great need. Along with donating toward food, you can support the local Christmas basket program. Maybe you'll even want to adopt a family and assure a happy Christmas for someone who might otherwise go without. You can give your time too, which is, really our greatest resource. Volunteering at church looks a little different right now because of the pandemic. It's hard, sometimes even impossible to go visit someone physically, but you can call, you can send a card or a text message or email. You can check in with folks, especially those who live alone or maybe are lonely or hungry for conversation. There are those who are sick or in the hospital or grieving loved ones. If you can't visit in person, you can call. Let them know they're not forgotten. Paul said, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, be generous, be willing to share. They will lay up treasure for themselves so that they may take hold of life that is truly life. Growing up, I had a wonderful example of what generosity looks like. I'm not talking about my sister Marcia, although she's very generous now. But it was my mom. My mom didn't have a lot to give financially. We were not poor, but she was a divorced parent with 5 kids, and there wasn't a lot to share. There's enough to go around, but there wasn't a lot left over. Still, if she had it and you needed it, you got it. It was yours. She'd gladly go without to provide for someone else who was in need. She had a heart of gold. She had a heart for children, especially, and old folks, and for anyone who was just down on their luck. She'd say, Kathy, I know what it's like to go without. It pained her to see someone in need. I think that came from her own growing up during the Depression years, and she was deprived of a lot of things. My mom was never terribly rich in her lifetime, but she was rich toward God. Listen, the demands of our culture are never going to stop. They're always going to be there. What you don't have is what you need. Constantly, we're going to hear that. But watch out. Be on guard. Be on guard. The pursuit of riches can take the place of our pursuit for God. The quality of your life is not measured by the volume of your stuff. Being rich is not the key to true happiness. It won't solve all your problems. It won't help your kids stay off drugs. It won't help someone who is sick. It won't make your depression go away or save your marriage. Money can't buy you time or love or health or happiness. But friends, we are rich, terribly rich. God has blessed us with more than we need. And because we have more, we will do more and we will give more. And in doing so, we will be rich toward God. That is how to be good at being rich. Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for all those gifts you've bestowed upon us. Help us to be generous and willing to share the light of Christ with the world. Sorely needs it now. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Kathy, for a fantastic message. I love listening to Kathy preach. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. If there was something that Kathy said that was particularly useful or helpful, let us know in the comments. Let Kathy know in the comments how you heard God speak today. I have a few announcements for us, and the first announcement is that Sycamore Creek accomplishes our mission through connecting, growing, and serving. We would love to help you get connected today by filling out a connection card at sycamorecreekchurch.org/connection. Now, one of the things you could do is maybe you filled one out before. We have your contact information, but there's next steps that you can take on there. And we hope that each week you take next steps toward what God would have you be as a result of encountering God in worship. Make sure you fill out your connection card and choose some next steps to take this week to help you grow in your faith. That's the second part of our how we accomplish our mission of igniting authentic life in Christ. Thank you for taking a moment to do that. Now, if you do that today for the first time, if you've never filled out a connection card before, we have a book that we'd like to send you. We'll send it through the mail, through Amazon. It's called You'll Get Through This by Max Lucado. And it's a message of hope and help that I think a lot of us need right now. If you need that message, fill out that connection card for the first time, and we have that gift that we would love to share with you. Some of the things that we have coming up at Sycamore Creek next week, we will be in person for worship outside at Valhalla Park in Holt. That's Sunday, September 6th at 10:30 a.m. Make note of that time, 10:30 a.m. We'll be having a joint worship service with our Potterville campus and our Lansing campus together at Valhalla Park in Holt. If you'd like, you're welcome to stay afterward for a bring your own lunch at the park. The only thing you need to worship is something to sit on, whether it's a chair or a blanket or whatever. We'll be outside, we'll be safe, we'll be socially distanced, and we'll be worshiping together in person. If you are interested in supporting the food bank, Kathy mentioned this in her message, you can participate in that Simply Give program. I really want to encourage you that if you want to make a difference in the Potterville area in terms of hunger, this is a great way to do it, because every dollar that you give is matched by Meyer. It's a fantastic deal. And particularly take advantage of September and 11 and 12, where each time you give, Meyer triples it. It's so incredible how they do that. Thank you for your support of our Potterville Food Bank. Another thing that we have coming up that you can get involved in is churches, congregations organizing around racial reconciliation. This is a Christian, faith-based organization that recognizes there's a lot of racial injustice, inequality, and unrest in our country, and they're working toward racial reconciliation. If you want to hear more about that and be a part of that process, you can join Congregations Organizing for Racial Reconciliation on September 10th through 12th. It's online for the first time. We've never had this before. We offer this program online, and you'll see the address there on the screen. That bit.ly address is what you can go to if you would like to register to be a part of that. I want to thank you this morning for your generous giving to Sycamore Creek. We want to be a church making a difference in our Potterville community, making a difference all around our area, making a difference in each other's lives without your generous giving to support our mission. There are a number of different ways that you can support our mission that are presented there on the screen, including our app. As well, you can also go to our website in sycamorecreekchurch.org/give and support the mission of Sycamore Creek. Speaking of the mission of Sycamore Creek, I'm so excited that this past week we got to gather together outside for in-person outdoor worship at our Potterville campus. We gathered on the lawn, and it's so good to see people, wasn't it? Good to look people in the eye. I know we had masks on, but to be together in the same space, to be together praying, to be together worshiping God through song, to be together hearing scripture. It's a powerful, powerful thing. And while we will continue to offer online options, an in-person option is a great thing too. Thank you for your support of Sycamore Creek Church that allows us to be a church that offers options, things like in-person worship services outside. Thank you, God. Here is Kevin with a couple more worship songs to close out our worship service today.
We're going to sing a couple songs together here at the end of our service. Please join with me. I could just sit and wait for all your goodness, hope to feel your presence. I could just stay right where I am and hope to feel you, hope to feel something again. I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. I could be safe, I could be safe here in your arms and never leave home, never let these walls down. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You'll lead me, Lord. You'll lead me, Lord. I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. I could be safe, I could be safe here in your arms and never leave home, never let these walls down. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, oh Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, oh Lord. You'll lead me, Lord. You'll lead me, Lord. I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life. I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life. I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life. So let your mercy, I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life. So let your mercy light the path before me. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, oh Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, oh Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, oh Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, oh Lord. You lead me, Lord. You'll lead me, Lord. You'll lead me, Lord. You'll lead me, Lord. As children we come with arms open wide, so desperate for you, so in need of your light. May our praise fill your ears, may our cries touch your heart. 'Cause we need your presence, we change who we are. So we ask, come Holy Spirit, come in your power, come inhabit our praise, come now and reign in our lives. Come Holy Spirit, come like the wind, come be Lord of our hearts, come fill your church once again. As children we come with arms open wide, so desperate for you, so in need of your light. May our praise fill your ears, may our cries touch your heart. We need your presence to change who we are. So we ask, come Holy Spirit. inhabit our praise. Come now and reign in our lives. Come, Holy Spirit, come like the wind. Come be Lord of our hearts. Come fill your church once again. You said if we ask for bread, that you'd give us no stone. So in all of our hearts, God, we kneel and we grow. Come, Holy Spirit, come in your power. Come inhabit our praise. Come now and reign in our lives. Come, Holy Spirit, come like the wind. Come be Lord of our heart. Come fill your church once again. Come, Holy Spirit, come in your power. Come inhabit our praise. Come now and reign in our lives. Come, Holy Spirit, come like the wind. Come be Lord of our hearts. Come fill your church once again. As children we come, arms open wide. Amen. So you can respond to our service or connect with others who you're with through our Facebook page around this Connect question. What would you be willing to do for $5 million? And I suppose there's probably quite a few things people would be willing to do, things that would be a lot easier than maybe continuing with your job for the number of hours that would be required to earn the $5 million. I will say, for me, one of the thoughts that I have is that I'm a writer. I work in literary fiction, and I'm a little bit snooty about what I do. But if I were able to sell a book that would make me $5 million, I would write all sorts of different types of book. I'd be willing to write a romance novel. I'd be willing to write a vampire story. I would be willing to write a vampire romance, any combination thereof. So definitely would lower my literary standards for the cool $5 million. Anyways, have a great week. It's been great sharing and worship with you. I will see you soon.